Canada just seized one of Russia's dwindling supply of massive heavy lift cargo planes.
Here's a summary of the article.
So Canada's seizure of a Russian cargo aircraft is bad news for a Russian air transport fleet that is now a shadow of what it was in its Soviet glory days. Canada closed its airspace to Russian aircraft in response to Moscow's attack on Ukraine on February 24. The aircraft is the first physical asset seized under Canada's Special Economic Measures Act, which was amended in June 2022 to allow confiscation of assets belonging to entities deemed responsible for a major breach of international peace, corruption, or human rights violations. The AN-124 is believed to be owned by a subsidiary of Volga-Dnieper Airlines LLC and Volga-Dnieper Group, two entities against which Canada recently imposed sanctions due to their complicity in President Putin's war of choice, the Canadian government said in a press release. Losing a single-plane aircraft will hardly dent Russia's military or civilian air transport capacity, but it does highlight how far Moscow's aerial cargo fleet has fallen since its Soviet heyday. Today, Russia has just 446 such aircraft, according to the 2023 edition of the Military Balance, published by the International Institute for Strategic Studies. Russia seems to have learned how to maintain the AN-124's engines without Ukrainian help, though it remains to be seen if the Western embargo on aircraft components for Russia will have any effect on the aircraft's serviceability.
This post received a score of 5,900, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Greater than the plane has been sitting at the airport since then. To add insult to injury, it has accrued more than $330,000 in parking fees, according to the Wall Street Journal. Obligatory. Hey, you can't park there.
The white zone is for the unloading and loading of passengers only.
The red zone is for the unloading and loading of passengers only. There is no parking in the red zone.
Don't tell me which zone is for stopping and which is for loading.
Listen, Betty. Don't start up with your white zone shit again.
Oh really, Vernon, why pretend? We both know perfectly well what you're talking about. You want me to have an abortion?
It's really the only sensible thing to do, if it's done properly. Therapeutically, there's no danger involved.
Hello, we'd like you to have this flower from the Church of Religious Consciousness. Would you like to make a donation?
Also, maybe we'll start to see some of these fall out of the sky, ideally while attempting to transport some valuable military hardware.
Russia's problem has always been that a lot of the technologically advanced components were made in Ukraine. It's one of the reasons they hate Ukraine walking a different path.
Yeah, Ukraine was a critical part of the USSR and held something like 43% of the country's resources and industry.
It's not only a huge breadbasket, but it's got quite the industrial capabilities, too.
Resource and industrial powerhouse that, once integrated into the EU, will most likely have serious potential. Sadly, one of the reasons Russia has taken a "if we can't have it, no one can" scorched earth attitude.
Not just NASA and SpaceX. ESA also uses these Antonovs for heavy satellite transports. It's just a good and available transport plane, and in the space sector we were all cooperating until approximately 18 months ago. In fact, in this image, it's indeed a Volga-Dnieper Antonov 124 carrying the second European Service Module, ESM-2, to be attached to NASA's Orion module for the second Artemis SLS launch. That said, this was in 2021 and before the war already.
Yep, saw one in Hawaii just 2 days ago.
That's why Russia is so butthurt about Canada recently.
They're also being jizmops over the Northern Passage and shit, because we share a northern border over the pole. We have to send ships there now because they're all grabby.
Russia is literally a drunk uncle. Go home, Moskva. You're drunk.
Moskva sunk to a new low lol.
One was destroyed during the war in Ukraine. It was designed and mostly built in Ukraine. Send this one back to Ukraine.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.